groovy.
Welcome to Horror After Midnight. I'm your host, KC, joined tonight by Saw Guy. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. I had to hear the voices in my head, and I decided to bust out Possessed Billy today for this episode. What are we talking about today, man?
The Conjuring.
Ooh, yeah. That was one of my favorite ones. This is the one that started it all, man, if you think about it, because this was built on a budget of 20 million, but it gangbust out with 320 million when it was all said and done at the box office. Crazy, right?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like these, it's crazy. Like of being like the first one in the series to do numbers like that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But you know why? It's because they have my homeboy James Wan on this.
Yeah, man, James Wan, he's awesome.
Oh yeah, this was one of his, I guess, starring films that he ever had done because of the fact of we all know what he did with Saw, we all know what he tried to do with Dead Silence, but then when he designed this, he had pretty much everything into it, but then he had little winks into Dead Silence in this film, and he just knocked it out of the park. I mean, the story that he did was just so well done that you built off a whole other franchise off of this.
Oh yeah, yeah. That and
Yeah.
like the the way he had like the camera angles and everything done, everything about the whole movie was great.
Oh yeah, and the crazy thing is the whole synopsis of this film. It's basically it follows the Warrens. So you have Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're demonologists. I guess you could say they're almost like pastors. They're like a psychic, a medium, and they go out on different cases. This case was actually following a family, and they were kind of like the Brady Bunch. She had 4 kids. He had 4 kids. They got together. They got married. They moved into this house because it was super cheap. He was a truck driver, and weird shit starts happening. Then the Warrens come in, and they pretty much try to save them.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
And they had like 4 or 5 girls, something like that. I could never be in a house with that many women.
It's pretty much the Brady Bunch. That's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Ah, damn. But this is classic, man, because I remember seeing this film, and it came out actually in 2013, around, I believe, July 15th. I want to say July 15th, yeah, because I remember I went to go see this movie for my birthday for Saw Guy Day, and I'll never forget the first, midnight showing that I went to go see. I guess it was so scary that people were running out because in the movie theaters there was like fucking shoes left behind. Yeah, it was crazy. They left their shoes behind, and I said, "What the fuck is this?" But when I went to go and see it, I saw it actually truly was terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think that made it really scary for you when you saw this film?
Um, it was really good. It was shot well. Hide and clap scene, that was really creepy. How like, well, not the first one, the second one was just the mom and the one daughter playing, and she asked for another clap, and she gets one, but her daughter is like in the other opposite side of the house. The thing that claps is like a ghost or whatever, and she goes to open it up, and there's nothing there. That was really creepy. Um, at the possessed scene, or like the ending where they start doing the exorcism because they can't wait on the priest to get there, and like
Oh,
what was it, like the sheet like rips open and there's like blood shoots out like on the damn sheet. That was really
yeah.
um, all of it. I mean, just fucking with kids is not cool.
That's
Room,
where it was brutal.
and they keep like fucking with her feet and like trying to like pull her or whatever, and the room always smells like someone farted. It's like all the creepy shit.
Yeah, and see, the thing that I think that made this film really creepy was the fact that they didn't show you anything. They would show you a dark shadow. They didn't show like dust or anything moving, but it all played on your mind power and what you believe. And I think that's the number one scariest thing is for anybody to dive into their mind and see what that is. When I saw that film at the movie theater, it wasn't scary to me at all. But it's a different ball game when you're at home alone, you live alone, you watch this shit in the dark, and all of a sudden now once you hear it and you see it, and then all of a sudden things start moving around you. That's a different ball game.
Yeah,
But what was cool about it, since you were bringing up the transformation, Did you know that the transformation scene was actually Joseph Bashira, the guy who did the music for this film, and he was also the Red Demon in Insidious,
Oh, okay. No, I did not know that because like when you're watching it, just looks like her. I didn't notice it was someone else. And the
right?
demon, you're talking about Darth Maul from Insidious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy because like with Insidious, they had such a tight budget that they actually use their music guy to be in that film. This one, they actually had a decent budget, but since he did so good in Insidious, they said, okay, you know how to play those creepy parts really well. So he played the whole part of Bashira, so he's hanging off the noose, and then he's there for the whole transformation because he's got the crazy eye look, he's got the growl and everything. But what I loved about this film was the fact of the music that they picked out. They picked out a lot of songs from the 70s, but I think the one song that really scared the fuck out of me was the original Sleepwalk.
Okay.
And yeah, that's hearing that song now, I'm hearing in my head, just hearing those voices, I'm like, oh, that's a creepy one right there.
Yeah, yeah, it did have a lot of good music.
Yeah.
Story was really good. The thing what was it, the clocks all stopped at 3:07, and later on we ended up finding out after the investigation and everything is done by the Warren that 3:07 was the time of the suicide of this witch that like sacrificed her kid and put like a curse on all the land. So basically, which means anybody that moved into that land would be cursed, and it wasn't just this one house. She basically owned like a very big property that got sold off over the years, and all these different families that moved in on all these different houses all over the property. Each one of them ended up having something happen to them where they died and whatnot. So when this new family moves into this house, we have like all kinds of different spirits from all over the property all coming to them. So it's like a really cool story how they like how it all happened.
Oh yeah, definitely. The way how James Wan put this story together, and then his choice of actors of what really kind of stood this out to me. The fact that he got Vera Farmiga in to play, Lorraine Warren, that was really cool. To get Patrick Wilson to come back from Insidious to play Ed Warren, and
Love him as an actor.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was great as Night Owl and Watchmen and various other ones. Hard Candy when he first got his big break. Ron Livingston. I thought that was kind of an odd choice because I haven't seen him since he was in Office Space. Because he's more a comedic kind of role. But now that he's mature, a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned, he wanted to try and dip his toes in this. This was pretty cool. And then Lily Taylor, which she's one of my favorites. I remember seeing her in what's that horror movie? Not House on a Haunted Hill. There was one that she did back in the 90s with Liam Neeson and with Catherine Zeta Jones. I think it was called The Haunted. And
Okay.
I remember she was good looking back in the day and still good looking at this time. Like, holy shit. But she's a really great actor. And the fact that she also knows how to play that type of role where you're one person and then you're another, because she played that role in Ransom,
Oh,
the Mel Gibson film. And the fact that she can do this nice innocent lady but then play as this possessive character where she's all crazy, just like holy shit. I mean, they just hit it on the money with this one, man. I mean, if I had to grade this one's a 10 out of 10. And if you have to see any of them to start this whole franchise, you got to start with the first Conjuring before you ever do any of the sequels.
yeah, yeah. If you want to watch them, like the basically want to start at all, you definitely go with the Conjuring first. But as the storyline goes, it's a few down in there, like the way everything goes. It's really cool how they put the whole franchise together. How basically the Conjuring was like way after all this other shit happened. Like later
Mm-hmm.
in the years, they've released so many different ones that were covering all. But yeah, The Conjuring is definitely, if you haven't seen any of them ever, you want to start with just one, definitely, yeah, The Conjuring is a good one to start with.
Yep, absolutely. And as I always say, there ain't no sequel without no prequel. And this right here, it's considered a sequel, but it was actually the prequel that started all the whole Conjuring universe, which, later on leads to various different ones. You got the Nun, you reached out to Annabelle, which I thought was a kind of a cool little wink to Dead Silence that they did. But then it also reaches out to other different characters that we'll probably discuss later on.
Yeah, yeah. This one there's a scene where I think it's Ed and Lorraine are talking to some nurses about this Annabelle doll. That's where she gets first brought into the series, and later on had her own spinoffs. Uh, but yeah, lots of cool things that they did with this series where they're able to branch off in different ways with, like you said, like the Nun, Annabelle.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we'll get a man one, but we'll see about that.
Absolutely. And the thing I think that really kicked off this film was the fact that, of course, when they only showed Annabelle for 5 minutes and everybody was all hyped up, of course, you had to do a movie on Annabelle. Later on, you see the museum of all the haunted items. You know they were going to have to tie in a movie with that one, which they did later on. And then all the other different cases that they've encountered and stuff like that. You knew they were going to bring all that back on. And that's what's pretty cool about this, like you said. There's so much that they had to cover, but they only covered just a taste. That it kept you hungry for more later on, and that's how they built the franchise out of this.
Oh yeah, definitely did. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of cool stuff in the movie. Some things were really weird, like the wife. She had a lot of random bruising, and she went to the doctor. Doctor like told her it was some kind of iron issue, which I think was really she was just getting like weakened or something by these spirits or demons or whatever.
Yeah. And see, it was crazy because they showed that her and her husband were kind of having their fun. And then she's like, speaking of bruises, what'd you do to me last night?
Yeah.
Um, this film had some dark humor in it, which was really cool. But the fact that it took place in the 70s, they were like really true to their word of how the look was, the style, the TVs, the music, everything. And they really knocked it out of the park, man. I mean, if you have to do a one and done of the whole Conjuring series and you have to follow it, it's either Conjuring 1 and 2 would be the back to back that you would do. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole, then you check out all the other prequels that followed with this one.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And yeah, we talked a little bit about James Wan, but yeah, to me, he's gonna be like the next like big name in horror. Like like another like John Carpenter or Wes Craven along those lines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not only did he give us the whole Saw franchise, he also gave us an action horror film that a lot of people actually have never even seen. It's called Death Sentence. Then he did Dead Silence. Then he turned around and did the Conjuring series, and then he did Insidious. Actually, no, he did Insidious first, and then the Conjuring, which I thought was kind of cool because a lot of people thought that this was actually going to be a sequel to Insidious, but it wasn't. It was a different, whole new ball game that kind of split off to it. And there's always been these rumors that he might connect both universes. And that'd be mind blowing because, I mean, Marvel eats your heart out. If they tied this in together with that, that'd be huge. But with James Wan, I agree with you. He's going to definitely be the next big horror director out there. The next Wes Craven. I'll even go out there and say it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think so too. He's awesome. He's done a lot of great stuff already, and he's still pretty young. So I'm sure there's a lot more to be coming from him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Brought out Aquaman. He took care of the Fast and the Furious franchise when Paul Walker had passed, and that was a challenge. The way how he put that story together was just crazy. But the fact that he pulled it off and made it memorable, which is even better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think about the scene where the kid gets picked up by her hair and like thrown like dragged around the room?
Oh, that scared the shit out of me because I can tell you right now, I've actually seen shit like that. It's not fun when you see stuff like that, and in the movie theater, you think, okay, whatever, it's not as scary, but it's a different ball game. Like I said, when you're watching it at home, and then you start thinking about things, and that's
Yeah.
what this film really does good. It makes you start thinking. It makes you start worrying, like, okay, is someone watching over me? Why is there this cool breeze in this house when I never felt the cool breeze before? And see, with that scene, that was really creepy how they did it. But the way they pulled it off, I mean, I know a little bit of the Hollywood movie magic. They had to use some green screen magic in there with it, but the way that they pulled it off was just scary as hell because it looked so real, so realistic. And the fact that the only way that they could stop it was the fact that they had to like cut the girl's hair just to let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all around a really great movie. I don't really know much else can really be said about it other than if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Do you have any like closing thoughts on this one?
Absolutely. If you have to sit back and ask yourself, if I have to watch any movie about the supernatural, whether it be Paranormal Activity, Insidious, The Conjuring, or any of these other random movies that you see out there, whether you're like on Tubi, Netflix, or whatever, HBO Max, if you see The Conjuring, check out The Conjuring first because The Conjuring does it fucking amazing. They there's no other way to put it. I would say it has to be the best supernatural film that's out there that they actually really did, compared to all these other ones that talk about Ouija boards and all kinds of other stuff. But Conjuring, go check that one out if you like the supernatural spookiness.
Oh yeah, yeah, man, I agree. To me, just like you were saying, The Conjuring is one of the best paranormal movies to ever be made. Um, I'll put it right up there with like The Exorcist.
Yeah, throw it up. Yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely one of the best ever put out there. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. And if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you've been doing because this movie's been out for a while. So favor, definitely go check it out.
Absolutely. And be careful about hearing those voices.
All right, well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We'll see you guys next time.